Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, dive into the TA. Alright guys, so we had a completely flat trading session today. We really didn't do all much of anything today. You had less than 0.5% of a range on the S&P 500, guys. So we're really just going to have to see which way we break out of this consolidation here. We're going to be using yesterday's highs and lows as as our trigger levels here on which direction we're going to be moving. Now, I'm also just going to point here on the 4-hour time frame. You're consolidating right here above the 4-hour 21 EMA. As we could see, when you do take that out, you start getting a little bit sloppy here. So, I'm just going to say warning sign, breakdown under 619.52. We're probably going to take out 617.87 and start moving down to 613.23. But, underneath 619.52, we're talking 617.87, 615.04, 613.23. And that is just going to be the previous all-time high, guys. That is something that is very likely going to be bought if we come down and test it. So expect buyers to be down here around 613.23. On the upside, let's say we want to break up, guys. Well, we're talking 622.11. That was today's high. Above there, 624.03, 626.28. If you get back to 624.03, we know we're taking out 626.28. But I'm just going to point out this consolidation is likely to break here in the short term. Probably is going to happen tomorrow. We can see here in the hourly time frame, the moving averages are starting to, get really tight in here. Price is really getting tight. It honestly doesn't look all that bad to me. And I'm going to point out in this video what is leading me to point to further upside is likely going to be coming. All right. But next is QQQ. All right. Now here on QQ, guys, on the downside, we have 551. Underneath 551, we have 549.58. Yesterday's low. Underneath there, you do have the golden pocket, but I'm just going to say it's kind of telling us we want to have a larger pullback here if we take out 549.58. Underneath there, we have 544.66, and then a previous all-time high right over here at 540.81. On the upside, guys, 552.80, which we're already above in the after hours right here. Again, I don't think things really look all that bad at all. I really don't. But, at some point, the market is going to have this larger pullback or, a 2 to 3 week consolidation period. And we're here for it when it happens. But, as of right now, I do think things are leaning towards the upside. On the upside, 552.80, 554.34, yesterday's high. And then above there, 557.20. And then above 557.20, we're probably pushing 560 pretty quick there. All right, so that is what we got over here on SPY and QQ. Just like SPY, guys, it really doesn't look all that bad. You're just, getting really tight against these 4-hour moving averages right here, the 4-hour 21. This is probably, telling us here the next move is probably about to start tomorrow. This is getting pretty tight. Above 554.34, the move is to the upside. Underneath 549.58, we know we're probably going to be making it down to 544.66 and maybe previous all-time high at 540.81. All right, now coming over here, first of all, actually, IWM. IWM looks like it wants to push back up to the highs in the short term. It doesn't have to happen, but that is what it's looking like it wants to do. You got bought up pretty quick after you tested the 5 EMA here, and it looks like it wants to get back above 223, probably tomorrow. That is something that is not so bad. Not looking too bad right there. My apologies. I always get these hiccups. Don't know why. Can't explain it. Happens. Stuff happens. On the downside, guys, over here on VIX, we're targeting 1611. That is what is looking to be likely over here. I will point out you have 15-minute bullish divergences going on. Maybe we get a pop from these. Maybe we don't. I'm just going to say 4-hour and the daily time frame, we're probably going to be coming down to 1611, taking that out in the short term. If that happens, markets go back to all-time highs. We're still, less than 0.8% from all-time highs over here on SPY and QQQ. That's less than 1%, less than, I'm pretty sure from where we closed here. Yeah, just about 1% from all-time highs right there. And then QQQ, I think, is a little bit closer. But, again, about that percent mark from all-time highs, 0.9. it could really get back up there within one day, and all of a sudden, you know, we're gonna have that green day, and the next one is probably also gonna at least be a green day. But at some point, guys, the charts, they just don't go straight up. You know, you do definitely have these pullback slash consolidation weeks where, you know, sometimes a few weeks of consolidation, sometimes you just pull back 1 week and then boom, you resume the uptrend the following week. We don't really know how that's going to shape up, but I'll tell you, you pull back into this area, expect buyers there. And, you know, we very well can test 570 over here on QQ before actually seeing, you know, a few weeks of pullback. So we'll see what happens here, but you guys know what to be looking for on the upside and the downside. If you get that downside action, guys, big buying opportunity is going to be presenting itself. Previous all-time highs and SPY and QQQ, okay? And, you know, any ticker across the board that, you know, you're liking the setup on more than SPY and QQQ, I'm sure the bottoms are probably going to be correlated over here with all-time highs on SPY and QQQ. So you might as well just pay attention to these and start going shopping if you would like. Once you start getting down to these lower levels. There you go. All right, now we're going to quickly go over the Mag 7 stocks. Amazon, you know, I'm just going to say I don't think it makes sense to really break down here. It can, but I don't think it makes sense. But yeah, on the daily time frame, we can see you have this little range going on, week and a half range underneath 218.40. We're talking 214.84. On the upside, 221.88, 223.72. Which is, you know, that's as where supply is sitting right now, 223.72 above there, probably coming up 230 plus. You know, we just broke up from that range. You'd think you get more than that move. And then you come over here, and now you have a new, you know, almost 6 point range there. We'll just round up 6 points. You know, that's bringing you just to about 230 right there, guys. So that is where I am biased to over here. That is what I'm still thinking. Went over to Google. You know, this is also one that, you know, crapped the bed today. The market really didn't get all that much movement, but, you know, Amazon and Google happened to both be down 1 to 2%. So that was the thing. I still, you know, am saying you had a break and retest going on over this range right here. You ranged out for another 4 to 6 weeks here, and now you just started breaking up. I really don't think it's likely that we come back down into the range. I know we're sitting right here, but I'm hinting at I think we're probably gonna, you know, start getting bought up pretty quick over here, especially if the market wants to get bought up like I'm thinking. I'm thinking that's what VIX and IWM are telling us. I think that's what SPY and QQ are still, you know, especially QQ on the 4-hour chart there. It's looking coiled up, ready to bounce back. You know, and then I'm going to point out the King Nvidia in this video as well. I'll actually point out right here. You know, this thing looks like it wants to break above 160.98 tomorrow. I imagine the market's not going to be moved down if Nvidia, King Nvidia over here, is going to be pushing up. All right. So, you know, market cap is currently at $3.9 trillion. I feel like 4 trillion is a magnet at that point. You know, we're very close, but only got to go another few points. By 165, we'll have a $4 trillion market cap. I think it's 164. We'll have it 163, 164 ish. But yeah, 165, that's the level that I personally think is going to be hit before any, you know, real pullback over here. And if that happens, the market's going to keep going. So, you know, keep these things in mind. Meta over here, you know, I told you because of the weekly chart, I still think this, but, you know, I think out of all the Mag 7 stocks, this just isn't one to focus on. It's really not. You know, why did you just break up from that and stall out right at all-time highs and hit with, you know, dark cloud cover candlestick over here? Which doesn't really make sense to me. You know, it looks like we're probably gonna, you know, be trading flat maybe until earnings. Maybe you come back up here 730, 735, but I really don't think you're gonna take this out. But we'll see. We will see. But daily is kind of coming along. Doesn't look all too bad. You come down to the 4-hour chart, and you guys can see what I see. This is getting pretty tight. It's getting ready for a move. It looks like it's getting ready to break up. So Meta could be making a short-term move tomorrow back up to 730. Tesla. All right, guys, Tesla, you know, I told you it, you know, after seeing a day like that, guys, it would look pretty funky just to continue down from here. It would. So I was thinking you got a solid shot at least getting a little dead cat bounce up. I think I told you in yesterday's video, 305 to 310. Well, today's high was 304.05. I'll say, you know, mission accomplished there. You got pretty close. But yeah, I mean, I'd still say there's absolutely no reason to be, you know, looking for buyers to step in here. There's really not. you don't have a hint at either direction right now. And the guy still wants to go up against the president, the current, president of the United States of America, who still has about 3 years left in his term. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't think this thing's going to be seeing any buyers anytime soon. But we'll see. If it magically gets back up here, 370, then boom, it's on. But until then, it's not on. All right, Microsoft, guys, the thing is going to be bought up. I don't know how much higher this goes. This thing's looking pretty crazy to me, pretty toppy to me. I'm not saying right now it's going to top, but I don't think it's going to do it off that candlestick. I think we're likely to continue, judging by what we see over here on the daily time frame. Probably not going to stall out after having something like this. We're probably going to push up to a new high. All right, have a strong look to us, and then we start getting slashed down pretty quick. Not this consolidation here as moving averages catch up. But above 576 can get a quick pop up to 505. Okay, 505. Underneath 493, you're talking 488.70, then 480.42, and then 468.35, previous all-time high. But yeah, the market needs to drastically pull back for that. At some point, it's gonna get back down there. Maybe not down there. Maybe the pullback happens from all the way up here at 530, and then it pulls back into this area and just never returns back down to there. We don't know. Over here you didn't get a pullback. You just consolidated in a tight range, and then yeah, you just continue going. And who's to say that can't happen here? Apple, all right, guys, is now pulling back. You did find buyers today off of 209.48, and then if you break underneath today's low at 208.45. Talking 206.24, and that's a spot that is the double bottom neckline right here. It's probably going to be bought. All right, buyers kind of showed their hand here. It's very likely going to be pushing up. Maybe it takes a few weeks to build out some some form of a base over here, even though you got all this consolidation, but technically you didn't break out of the range. Top of the range here is 214.56. You get above there, guys. All right, you get back up to 15. This thing is probably going to see 220, 223, 225 pretty quick. That's Apple. All right, and yeah, we went over Amazon. Okay, so those are the Mag 7 stocks, guys. I'm just going to say INTC. I think a move is starting up over here. I'm going to go over some setups here that I think are going to be moving over the coming sessions, probably this week, but definitely things I'm paying attention to right now. INTC, not looking bad. Saw a ton of flow come in today. And I'm pretty sure it was $6 million. And, I'm just going to say, guys, this thing hasn't moved in a very long time. You have a big old base going on over here. I think we could just be about to start the move. We have that base there on the monthly time frame. We can see we're moving up out of this weekly base here. That's taking quite some time, guys. That is quite some time. 3 months there, 3.5 technically. It's a lot of months. Okay, daily RSI is not overbought yet. We can see in the past. Okay, once it starts getting going, it can have a few sessions there, 3 to 5 sessions of straight upside. 3 right there. All right, about 5 right there, 3 right there, probably about 5 right there, about 5 right there, 3 or 4 right there. When this thing goes, it can get a few sessions of upside. Well, on this spike you didn't, on this spike you didn't. I'm just saying, it's probably about to start doing a thing. So I'm paying attention to it. I have no involvement in this, but I'm definitely open to this guy right now. We could see it's been consolidating here. I don't have the 200 DMA on my chart right now, but it is definitely I'm pretty sure it's right here, and you're consolidating above it this time around, whereas last time I'll just put it on it just for you guys. Okay, just for you guys. We'll come over here, go to 100. All right, I'll just show you what I'm talking about there. All right, we're going to do that. One day. There we go. All right, right over here, guys. So you're consolidating above the weekly 21 EMA, above the 200 DMA. Over here, guys, you did not consolidate in a bullish manner. Well, you have been doing so now for, 2.5 weeks. This looks like it's about to make a move above 24.66. We can see that is where, we got a lot of sellers stepping in around there. Above there, guys, we're pushing up to 26.43. I do think it could be about to make a move. I had already started, but I think it's probably going to do it. All right, I think it is. All right, next thing we're going to talk about, guys, Bitcoin. All right, it's going back and forth over here. We know it's going to be breaking up. It's a matter of when, not if. This thing, it's taking its dear sweet time, but we do know it's only a matter of time until this breaks up. Coinbase, it started crap in the bed today. That it did. It was looking pretty crazy to start off the day up like 3.5% up there at the highs. And then it came down real quick within half an hour. All right. So, you know, I'm just going to say, I think if Bitcoin moves, no matter what, Coinbase probably to fall. And if it can break above if it can honestly just get above 370, you stalled out right here. 368.79. The level we got is 368.90. Stalled out literally right there. We know that's where the sell orders are. You start ticking above there, guys. We're talking 382 comes quick, 400, 430. It's still something that can move. All right. But what I know is about to be moving and grooving over here in MSTR. And if Bitcoin does decide to peep its head back up here, guys, okay, if we can get back up to 110.5K and we could take that out, head up to 112K, MSTR goes to 430 real quick. And once it goes to 430, oh, it has, you know, a higher time frame break of structure here. We've only gotten a few over the past few years. It's over here. This is October, past year. All right. It's October 2024 over here, right? Well, you did that. You got months of upside. All right. By months, I mean about 2 months of upside. You got weeks. All right. And over here, what happened? You broke out over here. You got 2 to 3 weeks of upside. If this thing could break out, I think this thing is going to $500. I know I sound really nuts right now, but we're talking 480 to 500. I think is on the table if it just can get this starting move. But it probably is going to need the help from Bitcoin to do so. So it's definitely something that once it heats up, it's going to keep going up for a few weeks, and it's going to be a hot focus, all right, on everyone's radar. Just know your boy over here, he was early, but we're going to be all over it when it's early, all right, and then when it's going. I'll be sure to keep it on your radar because every little pullback is going to get bought up. You've got to wait for the beast to start up, and that starts if you can get a move above 415. Really, it's 404.42. Daily close above there, but yeah, at the same day, I imagine you probably are going to track up to 415 and above there, 430, 445, 450, 480, 500. We'll see how it goes. We will see. Carvana over here, guys, did print a bearish engulfing candlestick over here. All right, it got a nice move to start off the week. All right, from the low there, it had about a 20-point move. Okay, but as of right now, and a 20-point move from the low, you know, print an 18-point move. But as of right now, it has that bearish engulfing candlestick, and I don't think it's worth touching in the short term here. Maybe we pull back into 330. Those are the thoughts on Carvana. In the end, I think it's going to 376. I'm not sure if it happens, you know, after earnings, though. Maybe you do pull back and just range out here. I'm really not sure. Dip could also just be eaten for all I know within a few sessions. But, you know, you did print a bearish engulfing candlestick, and the last bearish engulfing candlestick that I could see on this chart is right here and right here. And, yeah, both those result in lower prices in the short term. So there's Carvana. All right. Next one talking is Crowd. All right. Crowd looks like it's getting ready for that move back up to 516.62. And then I do think 520, 525, 530 is probably going to be hit in the short term. CrowdStrike. All right. Next one is going to be Sound. I talked about this one yesterday. It started popping today. I didn't think it was going to take off like that. It took off. Congrats if anybody took action off that. But yeah, this thing went nuts. All right. It was nuts. I think it's up, you know, 20% at the highs today. Yeah, 18%. All right. Above 1342. You got nothing until you come up here 1535. Above there 1765. All right. And on the weekly chart, we can see a nice little cup and handle pattern going on here. Maybe a little inverse head and shoulders action. And neckline is at 1265. So, you know, I do think this thing is probably going to keep accelerating. I think we're going to get up here to 1535 and potentially 1765. Maybe it doesn't go straight up to $24, but it kind of looks pretty gnarly to me. All right, so that is Sound. Walmart, guys, it's still consolidating. It's not ready to go yet. Still in this consolidation. Once it's above 99.5, you know it's ready to go. But it's something that's getting very volatile here. All right, so we know a big move is right around the corner. It's Walmart. All right, next one. One's been bought up. Every little dip for a very long time now has just been bought. I'm going to assume this one gets bought. Pull back here. Doesn't look like that's going to be all she wrote. We're likely going to make it back up to 108, push 110, and then maybe 112, and then 115 after that. Maybe 115. I think, 110, 112 is probably in the cards no matter what here. But yeah, every little dip has been bought up. And, once you do end up getting bought up, you go another 5-6 points. All right, we're really going to say 5-10 points. This thing is an absolute monster. Absolute monster. All right, real quick moves. There's Roblox. And that is what I have for you guys today. All right, SoFi did end up popping up to 20. SMCI does look like it's getting ready to pop. This is one I forgot to put on your radar here. But SMCI, it does look like it's getting ready for the move above 50.61. If it gaps up, guys, and then fills the gap, then the big move's probably not happening. But if it gaps up and it closes without filling that gap, then we probably just started to move to 60 bucks. So put it on the radar. 50.61, set your alerts, and yeah, wait and see if this thing actually decides to break out. But definitely has a weekly, daily chart worth taking note of. And with that being said, guys, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.